I don't know about you, but lately I started getting texts from guys from high school that are dying of heart attacks. Maybe they have cancer, or maybe they've gotten an accident, and it's starting to happen more and more in my life now that I'm past the age of 50. And it's hitting me harder than expected because I couldn't explain why. Because some of these people that I hear about that pass away, I wasn't particularly close to them. A lot of them were acquaintances. The ones that hit me the most are the ones that are obviously closest to me. I think back when we were in our 20s or 30s, it seemed like every week I was getting an invitation to go to a wedding or to a baby shower. And now, these days, my phone rings and I hold my breath. Is it going to be one of my parents giving me bad news? I used to not pick up the phone when my mother called, right? Because I thought, I can always call her later. But now every time she calls, no matter what time, I always pick up right away. And I brace myself for bad news. That someone had passed, someone had close to us is no longer with us. And the other day, I was looking at my Facebook alumni page, and the administrator said that they want to post stuff about happy news, right? Because lately, it's just been a obituary of people and classmates that have passed the past couple of years. And I guess it's a part of life and it's expected, but when you get here and you start to see these things, it starts to hit you different, right? Than when you were younger and you hear of your father's friend passing or somebody in the family passing away. It's sad, but it feels, I guess, not as close because at that time you're so young and becoming old seemed like so far away. And I think what messes with you when you lose a high school friend in your 50s is part of you feels empty because a part of your history is being erased. And I think that's why it gets really hard, because it's a very precious link to your past, to your childhood. You think about all the things that you have done with that individual who's no longer here anymore, the bike rides, the parties you went to, the firsts, right? Heading to a party and that first kiss with the girls, and all those things, playing hide and go seek and going through grade school, dealing with all the stuff that you dealt with in the playground as kids, and then playing sports, or all these funny memories that you have right up till when you graduate from high school, and possibly all the years that you spent together before life became complicated with mortgages and having kids and family life, and everyone going to the corporate world or going into the working world, and then you don't see each other as much anymore, right? So I think the thing that also hits us differently as Gen Xers when a friend or peer passes away is society always has rules for people that grieve. Like you can grieve your family members, you go to funerals, you have sympathy cards, and you could take time off work because people see that as a very, I guess, sad event, and gives you space to I guess, grieve, right? But when a friend dies, it's different. You can't, you expect it at work Monday morning, and basically it's just a Facebook post of that person passing, and you're basically just told to that life moves on, right? And nobody really asks, if you're okay when your buddy from high school passes away, right? But if your family member or kids or wife, pass away, then they're all there. Everyone's for you, asking you, how you're doing. And it's you're like I said before, you're losing it. You're not only losing a person in your life, but you're losing a link to your childhood and your past and these wonderful memories that you had with these friends. And I think part of the problem on why, a lot of us Gen X men um, have a big problem dealing with this kind of loss is because, we were latchkey kids, right, growing up, and we were always told to be tough, push it all down, don't worry about it, deal with it alone, and put your head down, go to work, right? And we were told to handle everything when we were younger, handle everything solo. And I think that's part of the problem is we we're taught to hold everything in and not to, I guess, share our struggles with people. So when that happens, there's a lot of things that happen for me. I mean, trouble sleeping, right? I find myself replaying old memories out of nowhere, thinking about that person and the happy times. And sometimes, it makes you feel almost alone around other people. Sometimes I'm irritated, because I don't know how to, I guess, make sense of it all because, even though we're in our 50s, you expect people to still live till they're 80, right? Or to be there on the journey with you. And now they're not here anymore. So it's not, I think we have to understand that it's not that we're broken, it's that we're grieving. And as Gen X men, we're trying to, I guess, make sense of it all, right? I mean, a great example I think really hit me hard was a couple months ago when I went back to visit my father. And he's in his 80s now, right? 83 years old. And he would tell me that he would sit there on the couch and he used to go for walks and he doesn't anymore. And I said, Dad, well, why don't you go for a walk outside? And he said, you know what, son, all the guys that I used to golf with, I used to go out with, they're all dead now. They're all gone. So he told me the hardest part of getting old is not only just the health stuff, but it's the silence, right? The phone doesn't ring anymore, and you just see your circle of friends get smaller and smaller. And for him, it just seemed like it just zapped the life out of him. And when I heard that, it started to make me think about my own future, right? And that's really what it's all about. It's not the grief, it's the fear that that when you get to your 80s, that there'll be no one left around to that'll remember you, right? You'll be alone. And what is, who are you going to go out with? I mean, sometimes I think about, if I go out with, some of my students, but they're half my age, and it's really hard to relate to them. They're from a different generation, right? So what did I do to help me get through this kind of stuff? Well, I'm not going to give you a list because I'm just going to share what I did and what helped me. And, the first instinct that you have to recognize that, going back to our childhood as Gen X kids, we're always taught to be tough, resilient, and to deal with it. Be like a Rambo, right? But I started talking to my wife, expressing my feelings because I never really did before. A lot of these times I would just be emotionally distant, and she would try to talk to me, and I would just say everything's fine. I'll just stay quiet. But I started to share what was on my mind, and I stopped pretending that everything was fine. It's okay not to be that tough guy all the time. And I started to reach out to friends that I haven't talked to in years. And I did that because I want to reconnect with them, because I didn't want to wake up one day and realize that they're no longer here anymore. And I wish that I did reach out sooner. I had a friend that I told him that I was going to come see him one day at his work. And I drove by his work one day, and I was just thought to myself, you know what, I'm kind of busy right now, so I'll see him next week. And then I got a message from my friend that he had passed away suddenly. And that's one of the lessons I learned. I said, you know what, I'm not gonna ever do that again. And I felt, even to this day, I feel such guilt, especially when we went to the memorial service, and I was part of the slideshow there, right, showing us all together celebrating. So that forced me to stop and smell the roses again, and call up my friends like we did back in the day on the old rotary phone. And we're not going out to ride our bikes around the neighborhood, our Kuhara BMX bikes anymore, but it's nice to catch up, reminisce about the past, and also talk about the present, and also talk about the future as well, right? And as you get older, you kind of want to stay at home and not really socialize too much. But I found that when I got out there, I actually enjoyed it so much, and I'm glad that I did reach out to the friend and talk to them, right, and go out. I mean, last week I spent some time with a university friend. We all went out to, my wife and her and her husband. We went out to go catch a musical. We went to go see Grease, right, and it was a great time. And this weekend I called up another friend and going to meet with him and his wife for dinner as well. So I'm starting to get in a routine, and I think that it's healthy for all of us to reach out. And I don't think you will regret it once you get to the restaurant. And I know what it's like. You get home and you kind of just want to kick back and sit on the sofa and relax. But I found it to be it kind of reinvigorated me in some ways, right? So I want to let you know by sharing my story that you're not crazy or odd for feeling this way. You're definitely not weak. It's what being a human being is all about, right? And it's understandable that many of us are feeling a little bit down because you're seeing our generation that we grew up with start to thin out. And I want to leave you with this question. Have you lost a friend recently? Someone from your younger days? And what did that teach you about spending your time now, you know, spending your time probably more productively. Feel free to comment below. I read every single one of them. And if you like this video or like my content, please feel free to like, share, or subscribe. And feel free to check out my next videos, and I will talk to you next time. See you guys.